What's going on, YouTube? This is SG1 Sports, and we are here at the voice of college football. If you are an LSU fan, please help us out and subscribe to our LSU channel. If you're an SEC fan, subscribe to the SEC channel. We're going to give you a projected record here for LSU. This is simply based off of how tough their schedule is and how good we think each team is going to be. Not a prediction, simply a projection based on these numbers that we are going to use. So these were the projections for 2021. Of course, LSU had a disappointing season at 6-6. A lot of that had to do with injuries. If this team had been healthy, I'd have to think that they would have been better than 6-6. The projection that we put out put LSU at 8-4, but I actually predicted this team to go 10-2. I had very high hopes for LSU. I thought they were a top 10 team, and it just didn't play out that way. Again, I think the injuries, they obviously had a lot to do with that. The FBI, not as high on this team, 7.2 and 4.8. That was actually closer than anything. And then the over-under was 8.5. So Vegas thought this team was an 8-4 or 9-3 type team. And again, they did finish 6-6. So the projection at 8-4 seemed low to me last year, but it wound up being actually a little bit high. So this is a schedule again, and this is the scale that we will be using. If it's a game that is less than 20%, we put it in red. Over 80%, we put in green. 20 to 29%, 71 to 80%. These are the games where I think the spread is going to be about a touchdown, 6, 7, 8 points somewhere in there. Then you've got your 30 to 39% games, 61 to 70%. Those are the games where I think the spread is going to be double digits, 10 to 14 points somewhere in there. And then you got your 50-50 games in that 40 to 60% range. Those are games where I think the spread will be 2, 3, 4 points somewhere in that range. So the easy wins for LSU, I think you've got 3 of them: Southern, New Mexico, and UAB. UAB won't be an easy win. That's going to be closer to 80% than it is to 100%. But I do think LSU is going to be favored in this game by 17 to 20 points somewhere in there. So it's enough to put that in the green. So you've got 3 wins that you should be able to get. Not guaranteed wins, but I mean, Southern and New Mexico are basically guaranteed wins. UAB, a game where LSU is going to be favored by a lot. Then we go to the games where, actually just one of these games where I think they're going to be a big underdog. That's against Alabama. I do expect them to be double-digit underdogs in this game. Even though it is at LSU, this Alabama team I think is just going to be really, really good this year. And, LSU is a tough team to project because we don't know. Are they going to be near that top tier of the SEC West? Are they going to be at the bottom again? Are they going to be kind of in the middle? I'm kind of grouping all the teams. I've got Alabama at the top, then Texas A&M a little bit lower, and then I'm pretty much grouping the rest of those teams together because there are just so many unknowns. And with LSU, it's a new coaching staff, a lot of transfers coming in. So it's hard to do a projection like this. It's hard to do a prediction, but we're going to give it our best shot here. And again, I don't see LSU being a team that's going to be capable of beating Alabama. It'll take a lot, but you never know. Again, in Death Valley, anything could happen. And then games where I think they're going to be about a touchdown underdog, I've got Arkansas and Texas A&M. So Texas A&M, again, is on that next tier behind Alabama, a little bit ahead of LSU, but it's also on the road. And same thing with Arkansas. I think Arkansas and LSU are pretty even, but Arkansas is a top 15 preseason team. I haven't seen LSU in any top 25 rankings, or I haven't noticed them in the top 25. So Arkansas is being looked at as being a better team than LSU, plus the game is at home for Arkansas. If this game was at LSU, I think it would be a 50-50 game, but on the road, I think Arkansas will be about a touchdown favorite. So you have 3 games where I think LSU will be an underdog. Some of the other games, they might be a slight underdog, 3 or 4 points, but we're talking about a touchdown underdog or more. I think they'll have 3 of those games. And then everything else to me is in this 50-50 range. Florida State, a team that should be pretty good this year. It's the first game of the season. Again, a new coaching staff. What's LSU going to look like? It's in New Orleans, so it's not a home game, even though it's closer for LSU, but you would expect the crowd's probably going to be like 60-40 in favor of LSU. I don't think it's going to be like a home game. Then you have Mississippi State, who's played LSU tough as of late. The game is at home. I would be okay if you wanted to put Florida State and Mississippi State in the purple and say that LSU will be about a touchdown favorite in those games. I would be okay with that, but I don't feel confident enough, so I'm going to leave those games in the white. But just so you know, if I did bump those games into the purple, it would not change the projection when you average everything out. Auburn on the road, I think LSU should be a better team than Auburn, but on the road, that makes that a 50-50 game. Tennessee is going to be a good one. That's basically a toss-up. Florida on the road will be a tough game. Ole Miss will be a tough game, but it's at home. So, again, you've got 6 games here for LSU. Those are the games that are going to make or break the season for the Tigers. They might knock off Arkansas or Texas A&M. I'm not saying they can't win one of those games. Let's say they win one of those, and then they lose to Alabama. So they have those 2 losses. So in these other 6 games, if you win 5 of the 6, you're 9-3. If you win all 6, you're 10-2. So how they play in those games is going to determine the season. And again, when you average all these numbers out, the projection for LSU, and again, we'll say that they split the yellow games, they lose to Alabama. The projection is going to say with these other 50-50 games that they split them. They're 50-50 games, obviously. And that is how it comes out. So 7-5 is the projection for LSU. Not a prediction, although I think that's probably pretty accurate. It's a tough schedule, a lot of close toss-up type games. And so 7-5, I think if LSU can do better than that, it's a good season. If it's 6-6 again for them, I think that's a bad season. But with our numbers here, a projected record for LSU in 2022 is 7-5. Do you agree? Do you disagree? What do you think about this LSU team? What would you project their record to be? Give me your thoughts down in the comments below.